Welcome to the complete story of Final Fantasy V. The game that many overlook when singing the praises of the SNES Final Fantasy games. Caught in the middle between Final Fantasy IV's and Final Fantasy VI's unmistakably dramatic narratives, many are overly eager to dismiss the game's more light-hearted tone. But don't be fooled. Since, along with an ambitious job system, which affords players some fantastic gameplay options and greatly adds to the game's replay value, Final Fantasy V also features a story worthy of the Final Fantasy name. An epic tale of adventure, and a commitment to humour, which has left its mark on the Final Fantasy series in more ways than one. But anyway, I'm Pétur from Birds of Play, and in this video I hope you'll join me as we revisit the complete story of Final Fantasy V. It's going to be quite a journey, but I hope you'll stay with us every step of the way. In Tycoon Castle, King Tycoon prepares to depart for the Wind Shrine. The wind has begun behaving strangely, so he orders his daughter, Lena, to watch over the kingdom while he goes to investigate the crystal's condition. However, as soon as he arrives, the wind crystal shatters, halting the progress of the wind all across the world. When the king doesn't return, Lena rushes off to search for her father. Elsewhere, a pirate at sea notices the change in the weather, and an old man riding in a meteorite hurries to the scene. The meteorite crashes near Tycoon Castle, where it is discovered by Bart's Klauser, a lone wanderer traveling the world along with his trusty chocobo steed, Boko. There he finds Lena under attack by goblins and runs to her rescue. Together they search the Tycoon meteorite crash site and find the old man, who introduces himself as Galuf, but he can't seem to remember anything else about who he is or what he's doing there. When Lena mentions the Wind Shrine, he nevertheless exclaims that he must go with her, even though he has no idea why visiting the Wind Shrine is so important to him. Bart declines to accompany them, but Boko throws him off his back and appeals to his better nature. Eventually, Bart gives in to Boko's demands, and as he catches up with the others, he makes it just in time to rescue the pair from yet another goblin attack. Feeling that the wind is calling, Bart decides to join them on their quest. Braving a monster-infested cave, the trio leaves Boko behind for his own safety as they look for a way to reach the Wind Shrine. In need of a way to sail without wind, they come across a pirate ship docking at a secluded harbor, seemingly being propelled by its own power. Although Lena suggests asking the pirates for a ride, Galuf and Bart make the case that since they're dealing with pirates, simply stealing the ship would be a safer option. However, the pirates and their captain, Faris, catch them red-handed and imprison them. While in confinement, Galuf asks whose bright idea it was to steal a pirate ship in the first place, prompting Bart to point out it was Galuf himself, at which point his amnesia conveniently kicks in. During the night, Faris wonders why the Princess of Tycoon bears the same pendant they do, and decides to join them on their quest. As they set off, it is revealed that the ship moves thanks to the power of a tame sea dragon named Sildra, which Faris was raised with as a sibling, enabling them to reach the Wind Shrine without delay. Once there, the party discovers the shattered remnants of the crystal atop the shrine. The shards give off light, and the crystals mark each of the four with an essence of the four elements. Courage, the essence of flame for Faris. Devotion, the essence of water for Lena. Hope, the essence of earth for Galuf. And passion, the essence of wind for Bart. The king of Tycoon appears and names them the Warriors of Light, warning them of an evil force that is trying to destroy the other crystals, before mysteriously disappearing. To aid them on their journey, the crystal fragments entrust themselves to the party, providing them with the first set of job classes, the power of warriors of legend. Seeing as the nearest crystal is the water crystal in Wells, the party visits Zok, the architect of the Torna Canal, in order to secure passage through the locked canal. Though reluctant to oblige them due to the recent monster infestation, he lends them the key to the gates. During the voyage, Lena explains the dire consequences of what would happen should the crystals be destroyed, as the natural forces of the world would cease, rendering the planet uninhabitable. They resolve to save the crystals, but Zok's fears prove to be well founded, and the ship is attacked by a monster called Karlabos. Although the party defeats it, Sildra gets sucked into a whirlpool, leaving them adrift at sea. They end up in the ship graveyard, a gathering place for abandoned and scuttled ships, as well as a nest for the undead. After crossing a flooded room, the party lights a fire so they can dry their clothes, but Faris protests. During a brief struggle, they learn that Faris is actually a woman, masquerading as a man. Although shocked, they understand her reasons for disguising herself, as it might be a bit challenging to be the only girl sailing on a ship full of pirates. After drying off, they continue to brave the graveyard, but upon reaching the shore, they encounter illusions of their loved ones cast by the siren and fall unconscious. Bart sees his mother, Stella. Lena and Faris are ensnared by King Tycoon, and a young girl appears before Galef. However, Galef is immune to the siren's enchantment since he has no memory of the girl in question, allowing him to knock his friends back to their senses so that they can defeat the monster. They visit the town of Carwen, and soon hear rumors that a winddrake has been spotted flying to North Mountain, this being a clue as to the king's whereabouts. On their way up the mountain, the party is ambushed by a wife and husband hunter team, Magiza and Forza, who shoot Lena with a poisonous arrow and try to kidnap her. Without hesitation, Faris leaps across a chasm to her rescue and throws a rope for Bart and Galef to follow suit. Together, the party defeats the dastardly duo, paving the way to the mountain's peak. At the summit, they find Lena's winddrake, Hiryu, gravely injured. Recognizing Hiryu's plight, Lena wades through the mountain's poisonous flowers without regard for her own safety to get the dragon grass to cure him. Passing the grass onto Faris, Lena then falls powerless to the ground, but as the grass heals Hiryu, the drake in turn heals Lena of the poison. Disregarding Bart's fear of heights, the foursome ride the drake to Castle Tycoon, allowing them to get some well-earned rest. During the night, Lena confronts Faris with the knowledge they are sisters, as Faris too was entranced by the visage of the king projected by the siren, but Faris denies any such connection. Continuing on their journey, they fly the winddrake to Walls and entreat its king to shut down the amplification machine they use to enhance the water crystal's power, as it is weakening the crystal. King Walls refuses, saying that the machines protected the country and brought them great prosperity. However, before they can argue further, a second meteorite crashes near Wall's tower, the site of the crystal. The party races to the scene after the king, only to discover that the king of Walls and his soldiers have all been defeated by Garula, a normally gentle elephantine creature. The warriors of light defeat the beast at the top of the tower, but their efforts amount to naught, as it is too late to stop the crystal from shattering. They then find a strangely dressed soldier who addresses Galef as Lord Galef, but he dies of his wounds before Galef can learn anything about who he is. Counting their losses, the party gathers the crystal fragments, gaining their second set of job classes right before the tower plunges into the sea. Luckily enough, Sildra reappears and rescues them as they are dragged away by the current. Faris is overjoyed by Sildra's return, but their reunion is short-lived, as Sildra has used the last of her strength to save them, the gentle creature's lifeless body returning to the sea. Exploring the innards of the Wall's meteorite in search of a clue that might help them protect the remaining crystals, Bart steps on a warp point and is whisked away. The rest of the Warriors of Light quickly follow suit and find themselves magically transported to another meteorite near the town of Karnak. There they are arrested on suspicion of being in league with a werewolf that had emerged from the meteorite before them. Whilst in the prison, they meet Sid Previa, the inventor of the crystal amplification machines. He tells them that once he realized the harm his machines were doing, he tried to switch off the machine, amplifying the fire crystal, but was subsequently imprisoned by Queen Karnak. Suddenly, Karnak's chancellor rushes into the prison, seeking Sid's help to save the crystal, as it has already begun to shatter. Sid insists that the Warriors of Light must also be freed, since he needs their help. And together, they go to the fire-powered ship, where they find Queen Karnak in the engine room, clearly possessed. She calls forth a fiery monster, which the party defeats, freeing her of her possession. As they reach the crystal chamber, they are joined by the rumored werewolf, who reveals himself to be an ally as he addresses Galuf by name. Suddenly, a Karnakian soldier, also possessed, sneaks up behind the crystal and cranks up the machine to its full power, leading the crystal to shatter. The werewolf aids the party's escape at the cost of his own life, and Karnak Castle explodes. Having once again failed in their duty to protect the crystals, all the party can do is gather up the remaining crystal fragments, once again adding to their power. Sid blames himself for the crystal's destruction and holes himself up in Karnak's pub. Meanwhile, not having the luxury of letting their failures bring their journey to an end, the Warriors of Light venture to the Library of the Ancients to figure out their next move. There they meet Sid's grandson, Mid, reading by himself in the very depths of the library, and rescue him from Byblos, one of the monsters possessing the library's many tomes. When they tell him about the state his grandfather is in, Mid rushes to Karnak and snaps Sid out of his funk. The sight of grandfather and grandson triggers something in Galuf's memory, and he flashes back to a similar scene between him and his granddaughter, Kryl, the girl Siren showed him. He tells the party he is from another world, and that 30 years ago he and 3 other warriors had fought to seal away an evil warlock called Exdeath, using the power of the crystals. Now, Exdeath is trying to escape his imprisonment by shattering the crystals, using his power to possess others, hoping that they might carry out his dark deed in his stead. Sid and Mid repair the fire-powered ship and offer it to the Warriors of Light, so that they may find the Earth Crystal, the last remaining crystal. They visit Crescent Island, but lose the ship as an earthquake forms a whirlpool nearby. Thankfully, the island's forest is home to a flying black chocobo, but for some reason the creature is unable to fly. As they inspect the chocobo, they discover that the creature has swallowed the 2 missing shards of the fire crystal, and after they've helped it cough them up, the black chocobo regains its ability to soar through the skies. Riding the chocobo, the party crosses mountains and makes a stop at Lix, Bart's hometown. There, Bart reminisces about his past, remembering his father, Dorgan the Adventurer, and his mother, Stella, who died when he was still young. Returning to the library, they learn from Sid and Mid that King Tycoon has been spotted entering the desert of the Shifting Sands, a desert west of the library where the sand flows like water. In order to cross the desert, Sid and Mid devise a plan to build a bridge using the remains of a sandworm the party must slay so that they can use its corpse as a platform to traverse the rivers of sand. On the other side of the desert, the party discovers Gon, the town of ruin, and although they find the king there, he leads them to a trap door, plunging them into the underground ruins below the town. Varys calls out to him as Papa, finally admitting that she and Lena are indeed sisters. They escape via a warp point, but it overloads as soon as they use it, and they are nearly killed in the explosion. The warp point whisks them to another set of underground ruins, where they find the sunken, fire-powered ship shortly before Sid and Mid fall through the ceiling, courtesy of the party pulling a lever. The two inventors realize that the ruins were left by the ancients and their technology, and as they discover an airship alongside the fire-powered ship, Sid fixes it up and gives it to the party, all of them resolving to save the last crystal. Taking the opportunity to rest at Castle Tycoon once more, Faris confides in Lena that being in the castle brings back memories of her forgotten childhood as a princess and her sister, a time when she was known as Sarissa. However, they decide not to tell anyone at the castle about Faris' true identity, because it might prevent them from continuing their journey. Well rested, the Warriors of Light return to God and witness the Ronka ruins rise into the air thanks to the ancient amplification machine, putting the Earth Crystal at grave risk. The ruins are out of reach, even for the airship, but Sid and Mid reinforce the airship's hull with adamantite from Galev's meteorite so the party can make the trip to the Flying City. There they find King Tycoon in the Crystal Room and try to talk to him, but he orders them to defeat the Archeo Avis. They oblige, not realizing the creature is the crystal's guardian, and that King Tycoon is in fact possessed. Once the guardian beast has been slain, the king prepares to attack them. But even though he is possessed, Faris and Lena refuse to let Bartz and Galef hurt him. Before anything else can happen, another meteorite arrives and hits the ruins, at which point Kryl bursts into the room and hits the king with a mild spell to break him from his possession. Seeing his granddaughter again in the flesh cures Galef of his amnesia, and as the king regains his senses, he is able to reunite with his daughters. Their joy is cut short, however, as the Earth Crystal shatters and Exdeath is freed from the confines of his prison. He appears before them and taunts Galef, setting the crystal shards to attack the party before departing. King Tycoon saves them at the cost of his own life by drawing the crystal's attack. Before his life is fully spent, the king asks Faris for forgiveness for having failed her as a father, and asks his two daughters to be strong for one another. With the animated crystal fragments now inert, the fragments bestow yet another set of job classes onto the party. With the Earth Crystal gone, the party rushes to the airship as the Ronka ruins crash, and with Exdeath back, Faris and Lena are given no time to mourn their father's passing. Galef tells them the full story of how he and his companions, the Dawn Warriors, fought Exdeath and sealed him away with the crystals. Although he and the others from his world learned that Exdeath was attempting to free himself and used the meteorites to try and stop him, they were too late to do anything. He tells them that he and Kryl will return to their world to fight Exdeath, and forbids the others from coming with them, explaining that they would have no way of returning to the world they are in now. But Lena and Faris say goodbye, but decide they can't leave Galef and Kryl to fight Exdeath by themselves. Once again consulting Sid and Mid, they collect more adamantite from the meteorites, which enables them to activate a warp point to the other planet. They bid their goodbyes to their distant homes and loved ones, and jump in one by one to find themselves on a lone island in another world, where Exdeath's servants capture them and bring them to Castle Exdeath. Galef, Kryl, and their army prepare to cross the big bridge and launch their assault on the castle. However, Exdeath uses Bart, Lena, and Faris as hostages, forcing Galef to retreat. Instead, Galef borrows Kryl's Winddrake and mounts a rescue operation single-handedly, fighting Exdeath's lackey Gilgamesh during the break-in. Rescuing the other Warriors of Light, they escape, fighting their way through the monsters and confronting Gilgamesh in a second clash, this time on the big bridge. Before they can reach the other side, however, Exdeath activates his barrier towers. hurling the warriors of light to the far distant continent of Glossinia. Bartz apologizes for their capture, but Galef dismisses his apology, telling them they actually helped them, since the army would have been wiped out if they were on the bridge when the barrier activated. Searching for a way back, they help a Moogle escape from a hungry monster, and in return, it leads them to the Moogle village, whose inhabitants contact Kryle's Moogle at the Castle of Baal through their power of telepathy. Upon discovering where they are, Kryle's Windrake volunteers to fly and pick them up despite its injuries. Upon arriving at the castle, the party learns that Galef is actually King Galef Halm Baldesion, but he insists that they not treat him any differently. Kryle tells them the Windrake is dying from the long flight, and Lena suggests that dragon grass, which only grows in the dangerous Drakenvale, might heal it. The party visits the Vale and passes through the werewolf town of Quelb. Quelb's leader, Kelga of Londet, is one of Galef's old Dawn warrior comrades, although he is suspicious of the party and demands Bartz prove himself in a fight. Bartz defeats him, using a move taught to him by his father, Dorgan, and Kelga recognizes the move, realizing that Bartz must be Dorgan's son. Afterwards, Galef and Kelga tell Bartz that Dorgan had been one of the Dawn warriors, the only one who protested against leaving Exdeath, a great evil from their own world in another world. Dorgan was reluctant to the very end. With no other course of action, he joined the other Dawn warriors in the ceiling. Unlike the others, however, he remained behind to watch over the seal, making the other world his home. Having won their trust, the werewolves unlock the North Gate, allowing them passage to Drakenvale. Arriving in the Vale, they discover that the dragon grass has turned into a monster, likely causing the extinction of the Windrakes there. It becomes safer after the monster is defeated, but the Windrake refuses to eat it when they bring it back to him. Lena encourages the Drake by taking a bite herself, despite the grass being toxic to humans. Kryle, who has been bedridden from a migraine, gives her medicine to cure it before collapsing again. Her distress is caused by a psychic call from the sage Guido, so the Warriors of Light go pay him a visit. However, as soon as they set foot outside Guido's cave, Exdeath sinks it into the sea, showing them the fate which awaits all who oppose him. Riding the Windrake, they find a fleet of ships preparing to attack one of the barrier towers, led by another Dawn warrior, King Zezat of Surgate, also known as Zezat the Swordsman. They join his plan to infiltrate the tower in a submarine, using the fleet as a decoy, and climb to the top to destroy the antenna. They succeed, but Zezat becomes trapped in the generator room. He tells them to go without him, as the next generation of warriors who must challenge Exdeath. As Galef is unwilling to leave his comrade behind, Bartz is forced to knock him out and carry him to safety, the Windrake carrying them away. As one of the barrier towers falls, Zezat is caught in the blast, his life forfeit. Using the submarine, they speak to Sage Guido. The other world is discovering that he is an ancient and wise turtle. He tells them to go to the Forest of Moor, the sentient forest where Exdeath was born. A certain tree in that forest had been used to seal away evil spirits for years, but 500 years ago, the sheer concentration of malevolence turned that tree into a dark being with a mind of its own. That being is Exdeath, and Guido had maintained the seal upon him for 5 centuries, until the seal was broken 30 years ago, when the Dawn warriors were forced to face Exdeath. Guido tells them that this time Exdeath must be destroyed, and that the Warriors of Light must intercept him as he heads back to the cradle of his birth. To aid them, Guido offers them a branch from the Guardian Tree, protects the seals in the forest, allowing them passage into the Forest of Moor. The trees welcome them, but as they venture deeper into the forest, Exdeath sets it on fire. Thankfully, they are saved by a Moogle who leads them underground, where they can wait for the flames to die down. When they return to the surface, the forest is but a husk of its former self, but they nevertheless manage to locate the Guardian Tree. The branch returns to the tree, revealing a secret passage. Inside, they fight what they assume to be the evil sealed within the tree. But once they destroy it, Exdeath reveals that he used the Warriors of Light to destroy the seals on the very crystals they were meant to protect, their power now his to command. Exdeath turns the crystal's magic on the party, but before he is able to finish them off, Kryl flies to the forest and stops him. Enraged by the interruption, Exdeath turns his magic on Kryl. At the sight of his granddaughter in danger, Galuf rises up in spite of the crystal's magic and fights Exdeath. He battles to the last ounce of his strength, forcing the warlock to flee, crystals in hand. The party tries to heal Galuf, but he cannot be saved, his flame having flickered out. Using the power of the Guardian Tree, he passes his powers onto Kryl, so she can take his place as the fourth Warrior of Light, their sacred duty now having fully been passed on to the next generation. Having lost one of their own, the party infiltrates Castle Exdeath, and Kelga, the last remaining Dawn Warrior, gives his life to reveal the castle's true form, dispelling Exdeath's illusion and allowing them to fight their way to the top. There they encounter Gilgamesh once more, but his poor choice of weapon poses no threat to them. Having once again failed in his duties, Exdeath banishes Gilgamesh to the interdimensional rift for his failures. In his place, Exdeath himself battles the party at the top of the castle. Though he appears defeated, he manages to shatter the remaining crystals. The Warriors of Light black out and awaken near Castle Tycoon, which throws a celebration for the return of the princesses. During the banquet, Bart and Kryl slip out to search for answers as to why they have returned to the First World. They go look for Boko, and as they find him nesting in a cave to the west, they discover that he has become a father to some chocobo chicks. Not willing to let his friend Bart down in his time of crisis, however, Boko asks his chocobo wife, Coco, to take care of the chicks while he goes to take care of some business. Continuing their search for answers, they fall into an antlion's den, only to be rescued by Faris, who resents them from taking off on an adventure without her, as she has grown tired of being treated as royalty. Kryl complains that she is suffering from a splinter, but tells them not to worry about it. Together they visit Guido, and learn that the two worlds have been merged into one. They learn that long ago the world was split into two to seal the power of the void, a destructive power of unknown origin, lest it be used for evil. Now that the world has been restored to its original state, however, the power of the void has been released to be used by Exdeath. Suddenly, Exdeath emerges from a splinter in Kryl's hand and knocks them out. Exdeath then uses the void to destroy several locations by casting them into nothingness, leaving but black holes behind, including Castle Tycoon and all of its inhabitants. Together with Guido, the three remaining Warriors of Light escape, and as they resurface, Guido spots the Library of the Ancients, which he had believed to be lost since it had disappeared from his world. Thrilled by this discovery, he tells them the library contains a book that can help them defeat Exdeath and rushes over. Inside they receive the sealed tome, which allows them to unseal the 12 legendary weapons from 1,000 years ago that can help them survive the interdimensional rift, an otherworldly dimension existing in the rift between worlds, giving them a fighting chance against Exdeath. After obtaining the first tablet from the Pyramid of Moor to unlock the legendary weapons, the party reunites with Lena, who was saved from the void by Hiryu. However, Exdeath has made the demon Melusine possess Lena, and as the demon distracts the party, Exdeath uses the power of the void to attack the Library of the Ancients, pulling Guido into the void. Hiryu sacrifices himself to help drive the demon from Lena's body, so the other Warriors of Light can defeat her. Once they defeat the demon, Lena returns to their side, the 4 Warriors of Light reunited. Further abusing the power of the void, Exdeath continues his rampant reign of terror. Among the towns he attacks is Lix, enraging Bart to the degree he almost destroys the airship by pushing it to unreasonable speeds before the others calm him down. The Warriors of Light then travel all over the merged world to unlock the legendary weapons using the seals from the Island Shrine, Great Sea Trench, and Istory Falls, defeating the demons Exdeath sent to stop them. They find Sildra as a summoned spirit in the pirate's hideout, and Hiryu as a summoned phoenix at the top of Phoenix Tower, further emboldening their power. Now fully prepared, the Warriors of Light fly the airship into the interdimensional rift that is opened over Tycoon. There they fight their way through the hodgepodge of environments seemingly put together from the places the void is consumed, before finally reaching the final floors, a world of crystalline darkness. There, Exdeath reveals his true form as that of the Moor Tree, the tree that had been used to seal evil spirits. He tries to destroy the Warriors of Light with the Void, but the spirits of Galuf, Zezat, Dorgan, Kelger, and King Tycoon save them, allowing the party to confront Exdeath in battle. Halfway through the fight, Exdeath is consumed by the Void, becoming Neo-Exdeath, an entity that seeks to turn all of creation to nothingness. Faced with such a horrid monstrosity, the Warriors of Light muster all their hard-earned strength, and after struggling at great length, they finally defeat it. For a time, the Void lingers. It is told that in the beginning there was only the Void, but from the Void came 4 essences. They formed the crystals, and the world was born. Hope blessed the earth. Courage blazed with flame. Devotion turned water into the seeds of life. Passion for knowledge spread wisdom on the winds. If ever the Void threatens to engulf the world, so long as the 4 essences still exist in mankind, light will be born anew. It is from the Void that the 4 essences will rise, and once again they will shine bright. The essences of the elements carried by the party, hope, courage, devotion, and passion, imbue the crystal shards they carry, and the crystals are reborn in the places that held the weapon seals. King Tycoon and the Dawn Warriors thank the party for saving the world, and Kryle's Winddrake appears before them to carry them away. A year later, Kryle rides to Mid and tells him of what the Warriors of Light have been up to. Bart has resumed wandering. Lena and Faris return to Tycoon, although Faris cast aside the life of royalty to rejoin her pirate crew. Kryle herself returned to Baal, where she visits the Guardian Tree on the anniversary of Galuf's death, feeling sad and lonely. But the others join her and remind her she isn't alone. Should any of the party have fallen in the final battle, they are revived at the Guardian Tree. Together, they vow to continue protecting the crystals and the world. Thanks for watching. We hope you liked our retelling of the complete story of Final Fantasy V. Don't forget to check out our other complete story videos and also all of our other videos. They're all very great. I love them so much. I also love people like Luke Medina, one of our Gold Chocobo supporters over on Patreon, who commissioned this video. Special thanks to Luke and our other Patreon supporters. Oh, I'm getting emotional. I promised myself I wouldn't cry. Goodbye for now, and until next time, kaka!